Since I respect the time of my audience and don't want to waste any of their precious minutes, and that's why you should subscribe to our channel, we will talk today about Italy. While only 12,000 Americans choose Spain for their retirement abroad, Italy has the impressive sum of almost 30,000 US beneficiaries. To be more precise, there are 29,182 pensioners from the US in Italy, as per the most recent data. Why do so many people prefer this peninsula? Yes, we know about the weather, the food, and the views. I thought we'll mention these items again in this episode, just to be fair. But it must be something else. And I must be honest, while the distance and traffic of Bali and the economic instability of Argentina are big cons for anyone considering retiring there, it's hard to find points against Italy. But we found it. With no further ado, let's jump into our findings. And first, the pros of retirement in Italy. And we start with health. Italy is known for its good healthcare system. It's ranked as the 8th country with the best healthcare system by the World Health Organization. Without sound healthcare systems, a lot of things will go wrong. There will be poor quality of life and a lower life expectancy. Additionally, Italy has also some of top-notch private hospitals, especially in the northern part of the country. The second point is safety. The homicide rate in Italy is only 0.57 murders per 100,000 residents per year. That is extremely low. To put it into perspective, the entire country has fewer than 400 murders per year. That is a number similar to a single city in the United States, Baltimore. And by the way, check also our video about the safest large cities in the US. I'm sure you'll find it interesting. The third point is weather. Italy usually has a predominantly warm Mediterranean climate, with dry and sunny hot summers and cold, sometimes rainy winters. The weather is very different for each region too. It can change greatly across the different regions, granting a healthy variety even during short trips. The fourth point is the cost of living. The cost of living in Italy is relatively low, 15.85% lower than the average of the United States. It's ranked as the 4th cheapest country in Western Europe, and according to Numbeo, Italy has a lower cost of living than countries like Uruguay, France, or Belgium. And here is a personal bonus. Italy has breathtaking views. The main reason this country is always on the top list of the most visited countries in the world is because of its great scenery. This is a picture of my last trip there, by the way. There is nothing much more to be said here, nature speaks by itself. But, like any other thing in the world, retiring in Italy has its downsides. And here are a few cons. Language barrier. Although some residents of Italy speak a considerable measure of English, you won't find that everywhere. You may need to learn a bit of the Italian language, especially if you want to live in rural areas. The cost of living in Italy is low, as I said, but not in large, richer cities. For example, the cost of properties in Italian urban centers like Milan, Rome, or Turin skyrocketed in the post-pandemic era. There are also taxes. In Italy, tax rates are progressive and also depend on your region. But generally they range from 23% to 43%. Additional taxes are also due at the regional level, from 0.9 to 1.4%, and local level, from 0.1 to 0.8%. Compared to the US, Italian taxes are around 23% higher. Then there is the bureaucracy. The Italian government and agencies can be frustrating at times. There are occasions when you need urgent attention with administrative issues, but the bureaucracy can get in the way. Getting official things done can be quite a time and effort consuming thing in Italy. One of my friends who lives there has a large folder with dozens of all sorts of documents. Every time she goes to some public office to ask for something, even a copy of a document for example, she takes the entire folder with her. She told me that this is the only way to avoid public officers sending you back home because you didn't bring some forgotten and important document that somehow they need. Now that we talked about the pros and cons, comes a question. Where to retire in Italy? However, before we begin, I would like to ask a small favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And here are some options of places to retire in Italy. If you've ever been to any of them, share your impressions with us in the comments section. The first is Abruzzo, where you'll find some of the most inexpensive cities in central Italy. The transport connectivity is very good there. The area has easy access to Rome by train or bus. In Pescara, the capital, there is an airport with cheap flights to all over Europe, and people often say that the landscape looks like Tuscany. And like Tuscany, Abruzzo is full of towns and villages from the Middle Ages that sit on top of rolling hills. But the prices are nothing like Tuscany. You can live the same kind of life for a lot less money. The region of Abruzzo is known for being one of the most reasonably priced in all of Italy. And second is Piedmont, where small cities like Ivrea have good connectivity and low living costs. And the town of Ivrea is located in northwest Italy's Piedmont region, and it's considered one of the best small cities in Europe to retire. It's surrounded by 5 lakes, Sirio, San Michele, Pistono Nero, and Campania, all of which are close to the Aosta Valley. On July 1st, 2018, Ivrea was included on the UNESCO World Heritage Site and list. And Ivrea is a small town with fewer than 24 residents. Despite being that small, it's situated between Turin and Milan, 2 of Europe's biggest cities. So it has this particular advantage of having access to top-notch infrastructure and services while keeping very cheap living costs as a result. The picturesque views of the Alps and the low costs and the infrastructure make a good point for this small community. But it has a small number of English speakers, so this is a good point to learn Italian. The next is Puglia, where sunshine comes together with low living costs. Puglia has 2 airports, one in Bari, one in Brindisi, 2 major airports. Both have international flights, but Bari has much more of them. The region also has a robust bus system, as well as occasional train services connecting every little city around there. Puglia is one of the cheapest places to live in Italy and a popular place for Italians to go on vacation. So July and August are very busy months. If you own property here, you can rent it during these months and make some money. This still lets you enjoy the good weather in June and September. There are some good things about living in Puglia during the winter. The food's cheaper, and in the case of seafood, it's also fresher. So, what is your opinion? If you're an American, how does Italy compare to, let's say, Florida? Let me know in the comment section. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe to our channel for the next ones.